Biology students to your final research project. So what you are doing for this project is creating a presentation, PowerPoint, Prezi, Powtoon is great for this. Padlet would be another one that you could use for this. But you have to audio record it. Okay, it must be audio recorded. So this is going to be a minimum of 10 minutes, not exceeding 15 minutes. Uh, and you are going to report back on films that you've watched through the semester that relate to topics in adolescent psychology. So, if we look at the top here, the directions, you're picking films from at least 3 decades, not more than 5 decades. So, there's examples given here. Rebel Without a Cause, The Last Picture Show from the 50s, Diner or American Graffiti from the 60s, Woodstock from the 70s, Risky Business or The Breakfast Club from the 80s, Boys in the Hood 90s, Mean Girls 2000s, The Perks of Being a Wallflower 2010s, something like that. So you're going to choose films from at least 3 decades. So you're going to have at least 3 different movies that you're kind of comparing and contrasting, talking about, defining examples, definitions, things like that throughout your presentation. So you're going to first start off with identifying and defining stereotypes about adolescence. You can use your textbook to help define things. You are allowed to use outside sources. Just make sure that it's reputable. Stay away from things like Wikipedia. Um, although Wikipedia can be useful to start your search and then go to the bottom of the page and look at what references and things they have. That can be a way to help you as well, but don't cite Wikipedia itself. Um, so identifying and defining stereotypes about adolescence, let's say you picked Mean Girls. There's a lot of bullying and things like that goes on. A lot of cliques, between girls. They have to look a certain way, dress a certain way, act a certain way. Um, those are some stereotypes that we see about girls and how they should look and how they should act, and just the cliques that they have in high school. So identify and define the stereotypes from the 3 to 5 films that you choose for this assignment. Then you're going to identify historical events that influenced the characters and defining characteristics in that film that you're explaining. So what influenced, like what was going on in the world that might have influenced the Woodstock film at the time? What was going on in the world that influenced a film like Rebel Without a Cause being made? Same thing with Boys in the Hood. What was going on in the world that influenced films like these? And that's what you're talking about in terms of historical events. So were there wars going on in the world? Were there protests about things? Was there kind of an increase in awareness to something that relates to that film? So that's what you're picking out, is historical events in real life that might have influenced the making of the film for that decade. And then you're going to give examples of social development, emotional development, and personality development. So you're going to have different slides that pertain to each of those 3 categories. And so what social development aspects of the film do you see? What emotional development aspects do you see? And what personality development aspects do you see? So you're looking for kind of a compare and contrast, commonalities across the decades, things that you can tie together from one film to the next in terms of development. After watching your films, you're going to create a set of definitions or categories of behavior that's depicted in each film. So, and then you're going to think about how you're going to chart that data or, present that data to us. So when it says collecting data to determine the frequency or occurrences of behavior in each category, let's say you created a category that, talked about bullying from Mean Girls. You're going to figure out how many occurrences of that did you see in that film and chart that. So that portion of this assignment would be best presented in a chart, in a graph, table, something along those lines, presented to us and explained to us. in the audio portion. Then you have the opportunity to pull in other information from newspapers, um, journal articles if you want, social service organizations, that have maybe increased their outreach to public, as a result of what you're viewing in these films. Like kind of like a cause for action. Just make sure whatever additional sources again that you pull are reputable sources that you're getting information from. And so you're figuring out what, what reports about adolescence, were going on during that decade, again, that relate to the film that you're watching for that decade. So this should help set the stage for analyzing subsequent media portrayals for any of the groups that you're doing. So that's kind of the layout of the project, the PowerPoint, the Prezi, Powtoon, Padlet, whatever it is you're going to present, whatever format you're going to present to us in. You want your presentation to be a minimum of 10 minutes, not more than 15 minutes. And then, like I said, make sure that it's audio recorded when you submit it. You can submit a website, media recording, you can upload a file, you can upload to YouTube, submit the YouTube link if you want. Panopto, if you haven't used it before, that's what I'm recording on right now to explain this. When I'm done recording, I just stop sharing my screen and then I click send to YouTube and it sends the link to YouTube and I can give you guys the YouTube link to view it. So that's an easy way to do that if you're unfamiliar with it. It's pretty self-explanatory, but if you need help, I would be more than willing to meet with you on Zoom and kind of walk you through how to do that. If you have additional questions about this project, feel free to reach out. Just my advice to you is don't wait till the end because you have at least 3 films that you have to watch. So, and then try and find all the additional information from alternative sources. Let's say for sources on here, you're going to need to at least cite the films that you do. And then most likely your textbook will help you. So that's a minimum of 4 sources right there. And then if you're going to pull other information from newspapers or social service organizations or websites, things like that. So I will update it here in your final research project. But let's say you're going to have a minimum of 7 sources cited. So that'll at least cover the 3 films, your textbook, and then whatever additional information you want to share with us. So a minimum of 7 references in APA format. And so you can do your in-text citations in the slides, and then your reference slide at the end in APA format. And then add a title slide too to your presentation. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. Try and stick with bullet points in your presentations in whatever format you do, whether it be PowerPoint, Prezi, Powtoon. Don't give us long texts of, paragraphs, but keep the information on the slides kind of limited in your amount of words that you share because you're telling us about each slide through your presentation, right? I really don't want to hear students reading from the slides. Your slides should be more like talking points, and then you're telling us more information about that slide. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing these at the end of the semester. Thanks for watching.